The goal of this video is to show you how to determine which students would need to take the reading fluency assessment. Now this is geared towards elementary, so in particular those students with grades 4 and 5, because remember 4 and 5 are the only students for elementary that would need to take the reading fluency based on certain conditions. All right, so remember the conditions are these. Let me remind you. So for grades 4 through 8, students who scored less than mastery. So you can be looking for students that have a prior LEAP score in English. Remember, this is ELA. Don't look at math, only look at ELA. Prior year's LEAP score in ELA that is basic, approaching basic, or unset. So grades 4 through 8. All right, so when going into JCampus, let me move this back over. When going into JCampus, now this is what my home screen looks like. I'm sure that yours probably looks like this. I'm not definite about that. But on the left-hand side, you want to go to grades right here. So let's go to grades. So I'm going to click on grades, and then you're going to see this. You then want to go to list right here. So you see the little plus symbol, click on list. And then you're going to find, scroll down until you find the one that says, let's see if I can find it real quick. The one that says, all right, so the one that says, you see what it says, Student Accountability Tracker? So it says displays a list of students in their EOC, ACT, Plan, Explore, CLEP, and WordKey scores. It also includes LEAP scores. I'm not sure why the word LEAP is not in there, but it does include the LEAP scores. So click on that one. So the one that says Student Accountability Tracker. So let's click on this. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and choose an elementary school. Okay. So I'm going to choose an elementary school. I'm going to blur this so you don't see which school I'm choosing. So I chose an elementary school, and this elementary school goes up to grade 5. So I'm only going to when I click on grades here. I only need grade 4 and grade 5 students to appear, because remember, grade 3 students will not be taking the ANet reading fluency. They'll be taking DIBELS instead. So I'm going to remove grade 6 because the school does not have any grade 6 students. So whatever grade configuration you have, grade 4, 5, 6, if you had 6, you would click on 6. But I'm going to click on 4 and 5. And by the way, if you just want to look at grade 4 students for right now, just click on grade 4. If you want to come back and look at grade 5 only, you can click on grade 5 and so on. But I'm going to go ahead and click on both grades, since those are the two grades that we are concerned with at this particular elementary school. All right, so I clicked on those two grade levels, grade 4 and 5, and then I'm going to click OK. All right, now the next thing you want to do is see where it says test date. So you want last year's test date. So this is for for our purposes, we're going to put March 1st. Although the LEAP testing occurred late in the net, just put March 1st, 2022. Put March 1st, 2022. And so it's going to capture any tests that occurred between March 1st, and although no testing occurred after students left, let's just put June. I'm going to put June 5th. So go ahead and put June 5th, 2022. So any test a student took between, let me go ahead and find 2022. So any test a student took between March 1st and June 5th are going to be captured in this report. All right, now we're dealing with elementary right now. So leave all this other stuff blank. Now right here, since I'm dealing with elementary, this LEAP 2025, that's high school, so don't even use that. EOC, that's high school. And then you're going to choose just LEAP grade 3 through 8. That's all you're going to choose. And I want you to use the highest test score. All right, just use the highest test score. Now in elementary, it doesn't matter because the most recent test score is the one that's probably going to show up. But in high school, remember high schools, depending on if they did not pass a test or not, they can retake the test. So for high school, I would definitely use highest test score. All right, so let's just use highest test score. Let's just be consistent, and then you click OK. So I'm going to click OK, and then it's going to take a while for the report to show up. All right, so now the report shows up, so you get a lot of information. So I'm going to blur some data here, but you're going to get the school information here, the student name, remember SASID is the LACID, the state ID number. The SIDNO, the student's identification number, that's the local one. So that's the one that you're going to put on the Google form. You're going to put the student's local ID, the SIDNO. You have the grade level of the students, so notice these are all 4th and 5th grade students because that's the grade level I chose. Remember that? The gender, the ethnic code, student email, this would occur for high school, the homeroom teacher, cohort, and so on. Lots of information. Okay, but you see right here, that little scroll right here, if you move this over, that is where the LEAP scores are going to occur. You see they're all populating? Those are all the LEAP scores. All right. Now, there's a lot of stuff here you don't need, right? So let's go ahead and delete some of this information I don't need. So what I would do is under one of these, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go, see right here, where under student name, well, I blurred out the student name so you can't see it, but I'm going to go ahead right here. You see where it says columns? Anything that's checked off, see anything that's checked off, a lot of is checked off. Anything that's checked off is what you're seeing. So you're going to need the student name, so make sure that's still checked off. But I'm going to check this off for this video purposes, so that way I don't keep blurring names. So I'm going to take the student name off. You're going to need it though, so don't take that off. You definitely don't need the state ID, so take that off. You will need the local ID, but for this video purposes, I'm going to take that off so I don't keep blurring information. You're not going to need the school because you know your school, so I'm going to just go ahead and take that off for the video purposes. You do need the grade level, all right? You probably don't need the gender, so I'm going to take the gender off. I'm going to take the ethnic code off. Student email I'm going to remove. See, as I'm unchecking some of these, you'll notice that the part down here keeps decreasing. All right, I don't need the homeroom teacher. I don't need the cohort here. I don't need FAFSA. Now, you may want to keep the 504 and the SPED, so that way you'll know that this student that we're going to assess fluency is a special education student or a 504 student, a student with disability. Or now, SPED, also remember, could include gifted students. So it's any student with an IEP that's SPED. So it could be students with disability, it could be gifted students. So just keep that in mind as you go through this. But I'm going to keep those here. I'm going to take GPA out, graduation pathway you don't need. None of these you need. Diploma endorsement you don't need. Number of dual enrollment classes you don't need. Honors courses you don't need. Career options you don't need. IBC you don't need. Now, scroll down. See, there's nothing else checked, right? But scroll down. It's important that you scroll down. Scroll down, and then this is where all the LEAP scores are going to show up. All right, now listen carefully. So this LEAP 2025 grades 3 through 8, remember this is elementary, so I do need that. If the initial and the highest are probably going to be the same. So I would just go ahead and use the highest. So let's just uncheck initial. Now I'm going to uncheck initial. Just want to show you something. When I uncheck initial, all of this right here goes away. So all you're left with is the highest LEAP score. Remember, the reading fluency is based on the ELA LEAP score. So take math away, take science away, take social studies away, and all of this other stuff you don't need, right? You don't. If the student probably did not take a plan test, the student probably did not take Explore test, probably did not take ACT at that grade level. Work keys remove, CLEP score remove, AP remove. Let me scroll down, show you. AP's test score, AP, exam name, community service hours, and total hours. Okay, so the only thing left that I have checked are these. Now remember, you're going to keep the student name because you need that, and you're going to keep the SIDNO, which is the local ID. You need that for the Google form. And then you're going to need the grade. You may or may not want to leave 504 in sped checked. And then all you need is the highest LEAP score for ELA. All right, so I'm going to just click on that white space right here, and then that goes away. All right, and so here's what we have. So you have, remember, you're going to have all the students' name and their local ID. And notice you have how each student did on that previous year's English or the ELA LEAP test. You will notice that this student here does not have a LEAP score. This student here does not have a LEAP score. So remember, if the student does not have a LEAP score, what you have to do. So let's go back here and remind you. So let me go ahead and expand this. So if a student does not have a LEAP score, right here, student does not have a LEAP score, if the student scored 30% or less on last year's ANet Interim 3 ELA assessment, 30% or less, then that student will take the ANet Reading Fluency Assessment. If that student does not have both the LEAP and the ANet data, then the student will take the ANet Reading Fluency Assessment. If this is remember we're dealing with elementary, right? So if this is a 5th grade student and you gave the 5th grade student the state, oops, let me come back, right here. So if this is an incoming 5th grade student and the student took the state mandated placement test during August through the end of September, so beginning of October here, remember the window ends September 30th, then the results of that placement test may be substituted for the previous year's LEAP score. Okay? All right, so notice at this school that I chose, there are some students without a LEAP score, without a prior year LEAP score. So that school would need to look at the ANet Interim 3 score from last year, and if it's 30% or less, the student takes the reading fluency. If the LEAP and the ANet data are absent, then the student will take the reading fluency. If it's a 5th grade student that took the state mandated placement test, then you can use those results to substitute for the prior year's LEAP scores. Okay? All right, so oops, did not mean to do that. So let me move this over. Okay, now here's what you want to do. So you want to transfer all of this information into a spreadsheet. So you see where it says print right here? So I'm going to go to print, click on print, and you want to print it in a spreadsheet. You don't want to do a PDF because you won't be able to filter. Just do an XLS spreadsheet. All right, and keep it on landscape and letter. And then we're going to go ahead and print. And it downloads it right here. Open it up. And so you have all this information. Now remember, you're going to have the student's name and the local ID as well. Okay? Now, you want to filter here. So let me show you what to do. Oh, we have to enable editing. So let me go ahead and expand this to make it look a little bit let me enlarge this. Okay. All right. So you want to filter this because you want to know you want all of the students that will be assessed using the reading fluency at the top. So to do that, see right here where you have that little triangle right here, click on that. You see where where that plus symbol is? Click on that and it highlights all of it. So then you want to go to data right here and then you want to go to filter. All right, and so notice when I did filter, you had all those little drop-down menus right here. All right. All right, so you want to look at this column here. So that's a column. Remember that's the highest LEAP score. For high school, that's going to matter. For elementary and middle, it's just going to be the highest will be their initial test score that they just took in the spring. So go here, right here, and you see where it says sort A to Z? Click on that one, A to Z. So when you sort A to Z, what's going to happen is it's going to put all the smaller numbers, like 650, 662, 669, you'll put them from smallest to largest. So click on that, and you see what happens. So these students here, those students right here, let me do this. Those students here, those, remember, are the ones that did not have a LEAP score. So that's where you have to go and determine what was that student's ANet interim 3 in ELA last year. If it's 30% or less, they take the reading fluency. If there's no ANet data and obviously no LEAP score, then they take the reading fluency. Now notice these are 5th grade right here. You see those 2 5th grades? They don't have a LEAP score. So what you didn't want to determine is did any of those 2 students right here, that 5th grade student, did they take the state mandated placement test? And you need to discuss that with your guidance counselor or the STC, because the STC is the one that has to give the placement test. So you determine that. If still those 5th grade students did not take the state mandated placement test, then you give them the reading fluency. But here's what I want you to notice. So notice all the unsats are above. So those students will have to take the reading fluency. Then you have all the approaching basics right here. So you have, remember, 4th and 5th, this is elementary. So then you have all the approaching basics. Remember, they have to take the reading fluency. Then you have all the basics right here. They have to take the reading fluency. So let's just say that these students here, right here, let me do this. So this, starting with this student, let's say those that are blank have to take it. So let's go all the way down. I just want to show you something. Go all the way down, and I'm going to stop at the right before the mastery. So right here, you have 54 students right here, 54 4th and 5th grade students that are going to have to be given the reading fluency. All right, so that will tell you when you highlight that column right here, starting with the row between after ELA, and scroll all the way down until you get to the last basic. This number here, that count that you see here, that will tell you how many students you are going to have to assess using reading fluency. All the other students are either mastery or advanced. Okay? All right, so I believe that is all I wanted to show you, but that is how you're going to go into JCampus and determine which students you're going to have to assess using the ANet reading fluency. Now remember, this was elementary, and this elementary school only went to grade 5. And so for those elementary that have that configuration, a grade configuration, this is what you do. All right, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me or call me. And have a great day.